This is Colin Wood for AutoGuide.com. Today we're here testing Lotus's brand new Evora sports car, the new flagship for the Lotus brand. Now, Lotus, ranks up with the brands like Porsche, but they don't get the respect they deserve, mostly because their models are too niche market. Now, with the Evora, Lotus decided to go much more outside of its normal comfort zone of building high-performance vehicles for, race car enthusiasts, people who go to track days all the time, and build a vehicle that can still do all that, but will appeal to a more mainstream consumer. And the folks at Lotus tell me that it appears to be working, as most of their buyers are conquest owners coming over from other brands, not just moving up from an Elise and Exige. Now, it may surprise you to find out, but the Evora is actually a four-seater. It's a 2+2, although it can be ordered as a 2+0. And despite the fact that it has 4 seats, the rear two are mostly useless. So Lotus says it'll fit 5-foot-tall kids or smaller women, but it really just isn't suitable for that. So it'll help if you want to go lower insurance, but you can also save a couple $100 and opt for the 2+0 package, and also shave a few pounds off, which Lotus enthusiasts are sure to appreciate. Also of note, the car is powered by a 3.5-liter V6 engine. Like past Lotuses, it comes from Toyota. And that may surprise you that this car right here, this awesome-looking, sexy sports car, has a Toyota Camry engine, essentially. It makes 276 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque. Now, Lotus has completely redesigned the transmission for it with a 6-speed manual with new gears from 3 to 5. Originally, the gearbox also came from a Toyota, but they've revamped most of it. It now delivers great power, and when the engine, the 3.5 liter, isn't lugging around all that extra weight of a mid-size sedan, there's actually a lot of torque. It likes to rev really high, and Lotus has done all the ECU reprogramming, so it's really a lot of fun behind the wheel. And with the 6-speed manual, there's also a shorter gearbox that you can opt for with even lower gears, and that's really the best option because according to some strange analysis with the EPA, it actually delivers better fuel economy numbers than the longer gearbox. As it stands, you get 18 miles per gallon in the city and 27 miles per gallon on the highway, which is pretty amazing for an exotic car that looks like this. As you can see, the interior of the new Lotus Evora is immaculate. It's stunning. It's simplistic, sort of in a German BMW type of way, but there's a real nice sort of British regal luxury about it. This car has the oyster interior, which is almost like a pearlescent, and it just absolutely looks stunning. There's still a lot of typical Lotus traits, but they've added some nice high-tech features on the dash. As for the ride itself, it handles just like you'd expect a Lotus to handle. The incredible thing is it's also really, really soft. And as somebody from from Lotus was just explaining to me, when you start with a proper package, it doesn't take a great deal of science to do that. When you start with a lightweight package that's properly designed, you don't have to go through all those great engineering feats to make it both comfortable and a great handling machine. So one great option that you can get with this car is a sport package, and along with a lot of other items, it gives you this nice little sport button on the dash, and you press that and automatically you get a lot more revs. Instead of the maximum rev being 6,800 RPM, it goes to 7,200 RPM. The throttle response is much more sensitive, which is perfect and what a lot of Lotus drivers would really appreciate it. And you also get a lot more play with the stability control system. It really lets you hang the tail out. It's somewhere halfway between having the stability control system on and off. Performance numbers for this car are staggering. It'll do 0 to 60 in just 4.9 seconds. And even more impressive is the braking. It'll stop from 60 miles an hour in just 100 feet, which pretty much outpaces everything on the market. That's due to some seriously oversized brakes. They're only 4-piston calipers. You might expect something like 8 pistons, but because the Evora just weighs a little over 3,000 pounds, you don't need an enormous braking system. It's just another aspect of Lotus's lightweight philosophy. Also on the lightweight side of things, Lotus offers some different wheel packages. Now the wheels are already pretty light with 18-inch fronts and 19-inch rears, but you can get different painted ones and forged wheels, which take off about 7 pounds of the weight of the car. And when you combine that with the fact that you take out the rear seats for maybe 50 pounds, you're probably looking at a car that's just under 3,000 pounds. In terms of competitors for the Evora, it's kind of hard to peg this car down. It's kind of somewhere between Porsche's Cayman and their 911. In pricing, it costs about $73,500. There are a lot of option packages on top of that can make it pretty nice, and you're definitely looking at about $80,000 for a well-equipped one, something that's got all the goodies and the toys that you like. It may not have all the refinement of, say, a Porsche, but then a lot of what Porsche built its reputation off of was having a lot of really fun cars from olden days when it was they were a really raw driving experience, and that's exactly what this car is. It's what Porsches used to be. It's the kind of fun that you love. It's also what makes it unique, and it's hard to sort of pin that car down, is that it's a 2+2, but it's also mid-engine, which makes it the only four-seater mid-engine car in the world. Now, you're not going to find an automotive journalist who isn't a car enthusiast, so needless to say, I absolutely love this car. We at AutoGuide, we love every Lotus we've ever driven. They're amazing cars, from the Elise to the Exige, the 211, which isn't even street legal, to a car like this, which is much more refined, but still a completely track-worthy vehicle. But the Evora isn't perfect. There are a few areas we'd like to see improvement on. For starters, there is no dead pedal, so that makes it pretty tiresome over long driving experiences. Now, if you're out on a racetrack, chances are your foot's going to be on and off the clutch so much that that's not going to matter. Another place that we'd really like to see some improvement on is we're not a huge fan of the gearbox. We find sometimes the throws are a bit long, and also that clutch pedal is pretty long itself, so we'd like to see some of that tightened up a bit, and I think that would really improve the driving experience.